Hi, I'd like to introduce John Heldreth and Yoav Levy to this session today. John, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is John Heldreth. I'm working at Automotive Security Research Group. This is a nonprofit foundation dedicated to supporting the automotive security industry.
Thanks, John. Yoav?
Nice to meet you. I'm Yoav, one of the founders and the CEO of Upstream. Great to be here. John, welcome to Upstream.
Thank you very much.
Okay, John, first question to you. Can you walk us through some of the challenges that you're seeing in the industry and the smart mobility ecosystem looking back at 2022?
We have done a lot of great things so far. Actually, the industry has done a lot of great developments. We're understanding what is needed. And of course, one of the most important things is that we've created awareness, right? And companies have now understood that, there is something to be done, that they need to do something. They need to start understanding how to protect their products. Ultimately, the customers, right? That we're driving these vehicles and transportation. So that's really key, first of all, that we've gotten the awareness going, but we have a lot more to do still, right? The UNECE R155 is just rolling out. We're just starting to see vehicles on the road. And what's really important is to change our focus from the development and design, protecting the product itself, to monitoring it, defending it, being a part of the positive security ecosystem. So we have to change our mindset a little bit. And this is going to be one of our biggest things in the industry, is to understand how best to change this perspective, how to move from the protection element to the defensive one, right? So I think in the future, we're going to see a lot of new technologies, new processes, new methods regarding how to monitor our products on the road.
So it sounds like there's a lot of focus on agility and building new processes and not just deepening what we have so far. Yoav, can you give us some examples of recent attacks that have occurred?
Sure. So I think the Ukraine-Russia war gave us a few examples, and I'll try to give like 2 or 3 examples just from this part of the world. So first one was Russian stole agriculture equipment, like tractors and heavy equipment, like super expensive equipment from the occupied territories in Ukraine. So they took these vehicles back to Russia. What the Ukraine actually did, they remotely hacked the entire fleet of their agriculture equipment, and they managed to shut it down. So the Russian could only use it for spare parts. So this is one example. Second one is the Ukraine, on the other hand, they hacked all the charging station, all the EV charging station from St. Petersburg to Moscow remotely, including cursing Putin on the screen, on the LCD in the charging station. So this is like remote hacks of charging station equipment. Maybe the third one, which just happened a few weeks ago, was around Yandex. They have hacked the application, and what they managed to do is to send all the taxi driver to a specific location in Moscow and created like massive traffic jams in Moscow. So I think you can see like 3 different examples around Russia, around cyber activities in the ecosystem of the connected vehicles. It's not only attacking the vehicles themselves, but you look at the ecosystem, which means the charging station, the product cybersecurity, and of course also the services and application where, ride-hailing is one of these applications.
Interesting. So tapping into what you said about the industry expanding into a much wider ecosystem, John, how do you see the proliferation of electric vehicles impact the way we think about cybersecurity?
So actually, EVs themselves, this change of a drivetrain strategy, I don't think is specifically going to impact so much the cybersecurity considerations that we have for the industry. What we've seen in the past is the change of connected vehicles, allowing different attack vectors, and enabling a lot more features and functions in the vehicle, but also some more damage, some more risks, introducing all kinds of different threats to the vehicle, which is okay. We just need to manage this correctly. So actually, EVs are not particularly changing the way we look at cybersecurity for transportation or vehicles on the streets. However, all of these new features and functions that we see that belong to the EV ecosystem are of course bringing in new attack vectors. And this is something that we just need to monitor, we need to take care of, we need to consider, and just do the right things in the development to make sure we consider how to make these safe and secure vehicles on the road.
Okay, thanks, John. So, Yoav, when we talked a little bit about these new features and capabilities, and it's completely shifting the way OEMs think about their revenue stream and monetization opportunities, how do you see those new revenue streams impacting the way we think about product cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think the shift is around pushing more and more software into the vehicle, making the car better over time. So you can see Tesla are doing it amazingly, where they're adding new features every software download, every release. Also, the other trends that we see is features as a service, right? So you see Tesla are selling autopilot, Ford are selling Blue Cruise, BMW are selling, heat seaters, and we're going to see more and more subscription-based features that the OEMs are actually starting to sell. And part of the cybersecurity objective is for the team is to secure these features as a service processes, making sure no one will be able to use these features without paying or misusing these features in a way. So this is part of the trends, and I think we're seeing that the amount of code that's being pushed to the vehicles over time will increase. Meaning, if now we have some of the manufacturers have 80, 100 ECUs, pretty complex to do these software updates. What we've identified is, especially in the new EV architecture, is that there are only a few of these ECUs, and there is more and more code, which will introduce more vulnerabilities and cybersecurity risks. And I think another angle is around APIs. So if you think about APIs that can be used to trigger something within your vehicle, if it's to unlock your door, start your engine, turn on your air conditioner, etc., these APIs are actually exposed to the wild. So API security for the mobility industry, we identified as something that is very important, where most of the bad actors, the cybersecurity hackers, they're very familiar with hacking IT, specifically APIs and applications. They're doing it very good for the last 20 years. And in automotive, you can see APIs that trigger something within your vehicle, within your application, within your backend infrastructure, or EV technology like charging station. So APIs, we believe, will have an increased number of cybersecurity attacks in the future.
Thanks, Yoav. So John, looking now into 2023, if you had to pinpoint 2 or 3 predictions or elements that folks should be aware of as they design their strategy, what would those be?
So I think if we take a look back in 2022, we have to admit that we've done a lot of work, we've done a lot of good work protecting products. But to do that, we had to develop processes, we had to develop methods, we start to bring in tools to automate and make sure the quality of these processes and methods are met. So I think what we're going to see in 2023 is actually just continuing in this path. We just have to continue maturing our processes, methods, and tool base so that we can make sure that the products we do put on the streets are safe and secure, and that we can even identify it. One of the biggest points is, someone can say, well, we weren't attacked in 2022. But how do you know that if you have not the opportunity to see what's going on in the field? And so as our tools and our methods become more and more mature, we're going to see more attacks, but not because we're going to see more attacks because they're happening more, but actually we are able to identify these attacks and monitor and be a part of the ecosystem now. So I think in 2023, we're gonna see a lot more maturity, not only in the OEMs, but also in the suppliers. And I think this is going to slowly develop into a really good way that we can identify how to react better, right? So first of all is identification and awareness. Then based on these results, based on this information, we can start to understand how to properly react to situations. And we talked about incident response, or you talk about operations centers and so on. We're just getting started. The first UNECE vehicles are just getting out on the road. And so it's going to be really cool, really amazing to see what happens and to be able to pivot and to become a part of the solution based on real facts. So 2023, my prediction is going to be that we're really going to start having quality processes, being able to make good decisions or better decisions based on good information. So.
Thanks, John. Yoav, what about you? What are you seeing for 2023?
So my prediction for 2023 is more cybersecurity activities in the fleets, especially these large commercial vehicle fleets that most of their business is related to their transportation, and it could be logistics company, supply chain, utility, gas and oil delivery, these guys. And we believe we're going to see more and more cybersecurity activities actually targeting them and their fleet, mainly because the impact on vehicle hacking to their operation. Eventually, of course, if you compare hacking a passenger car that's owned by an individual versus hacking a vehicle that is owned by a fleet, of course the impact would be higher on the fleet. I think we gave before that few examples on the Yandex, about this agriculture fleet of vehicles, and also about the infrastructure of EV chargers. So my prediction is that we're going to see more cyber activities in this space.
So John, from a practical perspective, what would you say the key takeaways are?
Well, there's so many, Shira. One of the biggest points here is that actually we will not have 100% secure solution, okay? We have to be prepared for this, not only as OEMs and suppliers, but also as a public. There's just no way that we can secure a vehicle 100% of the time, over the entire lifetime, from design, development, through production, even when it's on the street. So this is what we have to be prepared for. This is an ongoing process. And I think that's really important to understand, because there are going to be attacks. What's going to be most important is how we react to those. Okay? And the second thing I'd like to bring, this is something that we can't do alone. An OEM, a supplier, Yoav, Shira, we are not going to be able to bring a more secure product to the street by ourselves. And so it's really important to understand that if you're an OEM, or if you're a supplier, or if you're just a part of, I don't even know, the delivery service, or even part of the agriculture department, all of us have to work together. We all have the same goals, and that's to bring secure products to our friends and family. We're driving these products, we're riding in these products every day. So it's very important not to pretend like you can solve this on your own. Be a part of the solution together. And that means OEMs, suppliers, everybody involved in the process. There's no OEM that does everything themselves, okay? So involve the supply chain. Get out there and be a part of the community. You know, share information that might be relevant to other companies. Don't hold back if you think, you know, this could help. So, and ASRG can be a part of that solution as well. But be a part of the community, share information, understand that this is something we do together.
Absolutely.
Just echoing what John mentioned before, I think visibility is a key, providing the manufacturers and the supply chain visibility about what's happening during their design, production, and post-production when the vehicle is actually on the street with the connected car operation. So I think we have done a lot of support and help, and some of the OEMs have very progressed a lot with getting visibility into their vehicles and products. And I think now we need to invest a lot in building these playbooks, okay, on how do we protect ourselves for different type of use cases. If this is like building playbooks and runbooks, building automation, getting more and more stakeholders within the OEMs and the supply chain involved in the response and the reaction to cybersecurity threats. Make sure that the company has the right procedures and plans on how to react to cybersecurity threats, so they have everything in place. And this is just echoing again what John mentioned. This is an ongoing work. We're never going to be 100% secured, but we need to work harder and together in order to secure our products and services.
So if I may echo that, it sounds like we need a lot of collaboration both internally within each organization, but also externally among different stakeholders within the ecosystem to make this work and to get as close as possible to this 100% secure that we are all aspiring for.
Yeah, and this is luckily we're working together with ASRG, and I think we see lots of benefits and to the community in collaborating together. So thank you very much, John, for all the great job.
Yoav, thank you very much as well for having me here and being a part of the ASRG.